right, welcome back to Nerds of the Old Republic. We are talking about Kill Bill Volume 2. And just like Kill Bill Volume 1, I'm going to start with a rough transition back to where we were.
I just had a oh shit moment.
What's up?
Did we introduce ourselves in the last one?
Oh shit, we first missed it. That's the first time we've missed it.
We'll be like a Tarantino thing. We'll just go out of order.
Okay. So we're going to talk for like 10 minutes and then we're going to do it.
And then we're going to stop and say, Mike.
All right. Well, guess what? You're not going to get our names now. So, all right,
except for Mike.
Well,
wait,
is it really him now?
Yeah, there you go. I'm
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yeah, we are here enjoying some fine mezcal in Mike's clay pots. You don't know which one of us is Mike, though. And we are talking Kill Bill 2, which is, we're right in the middle of the revenge story for the bride here, Uma Thurman.
Let's drink one to the bride.
Absolutely. To the bride.
Can we call her by her real name now, or?
I mean, we can call her that, sure. We're going to presume, dear listener, that you have watched because you listened to the first one and knew what was coming up, right?
To Beatrix.
Right. To Beatrix.
Beatrix Kiddo.
Kiddo.
Still good.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little alarmed at how much I enjoyed just drinking chilled mezcal out of a clay cup.
Could be a new pastime.
That's what I'm a little alarmed about.
You guys enjoying the sushi?
I am, and
yes.
We cut in between everybody, but we had mistakenly left the sushi out for a little bit. So,
it's cool.
I mean, it's fine. It's still cool.
So, it had cooled down a little bit, but it's all right. I popped it in the microwave, got it piping hot again. And...
Yeah, no, it's much better that way. There's that one piece, looks like it's got a piece of raw chicken on top of it. I don't know what that is.
Now that you've said it, I can't eat it. It's probably yellowfin tuna, but I can't now.
Go ahead, Mike. It's all yours.
Which one are you referring to?
The one that has like raw chicken on top.
The sashimi.
Yeah, that's I avoided that one. There was 2 left. The last one of those I took, and I did not take back.
I'll eat it if you guys eat the rest of those.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. So, here's my rough transition after, practicing transitions like this for 17 years of teaching. Kill Bill 2 is the bride's attempt, Kiddo's attempt, to finish the rest of her murder list. Mm-hmm. All right, and we pick up with where she had just killed Oranishi over in Japan, and we figured out in the last cast that that's when she goes to America.
Right.
I had totally been wrong the first time in 3 seasons.
But I think that that's what I thought as well. So Sean won the bell. It was a hard-earned bell for Sean. He had to argue his point. And
That's
did.
Good. Yeah.
I'll take that bell to my grave.
Went to the internet, the font of all wisdom. And
I mean, to be fair, I did check IMDb and Screen Rant against each other, so they agreed.
You cross-referenced them.
I did not have internet access, so there you go.
Well, yeah, so she kills Vivica A. Fox.
Yep.
Almost in front of her own kid. Probably creating another sociopath.
Basically, in front of... I mean, the kid comes in right after the killing. Actually, that's...
Sees her dead, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool moment, actually, when, she looks at her and says, when you're older...
if you're still feeling...
come find me. Yeah.
What's the word she says? If you're still feeling... Something about it. It's like it's a weird thing to say. Right. Like you just like watching like this girl just killed your mom.
You're right. It's not like eloquent prose. Yeah. It's like something casually, like someone would say in that situation. I forget what it is though. You're right. Well, I'll start by saying Kill Bill 2 was, for me, the one that sort of redeemed both of the films for me. I said in the last cast how Kill Bill 1, when I saw it in theaters as an ignorant 19-year-old who loved Tarantino's prior films, that I was disappointed by it.
Yeah.
I remember I did not even go see Kill Bill 2 when it was in theaters for that reason. I knew I would see it, but I was just not chomping at the bit. I eventually did see it one night when I was just sitting up watching movies in college. I think I was a senior. And I fucking loved it, which I think was the product of 2 things. One, I expected it to be what it was, having seen the first one, so I went in with better expectations. But number 2, I also think that the second one is, Sean, you raised this point recently, more cinematic in the classic movie sense.
Agreed.
And I think that's what I loved about it. there's more dialogue, there's more like sweeping epic backgrounds. It takes its time more. It's not quite as focused on the over the top violence. And I think I really dug that. And I remember going back to watch Kill Bill 1 after that and being like, okay, I like them both now.
What's interesting, you make that point, and it's odd because, as you said, these movies come out a year apart. They were probably filmed at the same time, and yet the feeling of each one is so distinct. And to see his filmmaking transition between those two movies in a way like that sets up what you get in Inglorious Basterds and Django and Once Upon a Time, all that kind of stuff that I feel like Kill Bill 2 is like the progenitor of that style of Tarantino, like the later style.
I completely agree. I think that's the pivot point to what comes next.
Yeah. And it's so weird that they're like right next to each other.
Right.
You know, is it intentional? Did he know he was changing his visual style? Did he say like, you know what, I'm just going to do this more beautifully, more seriously. I'm not going to make it look cheap on purpose.
Right, because I mean, and it's not that the first one doesn't have any of that stuff. I mean, it definitely does. I mean, we talked in the last cast about the unveiling of the sword and all that. I mean, it has a little bit of it, but it's all the second movie is. It's just like beautiful scene after beautiful scene after beautiful scene.
The first one is small.
Yes,
it's small. Everything is small.
Right.
Like there's really no big, giant, wide open places. It's all very almost claustrophobic in some ways. But you're right. Like it expands brilliantly in the second.
I mean, yeah. Now that you mention it, the suburban home, right? Hanzo. Am I saying that correctly? Hansu's sushi restaurant. And then the cramped little apartment where she watches her father die in the animation sequence.
Then
Even
what's
the
that?
chapel's
The
tiny.
wedding chapel.
Oh, well, that doesn't come until Kill Bill. Oh, it does a little bit in Kill Bill 1 because we don't see Bill.
The only expanse we get is when the cop is pulling in.
Right.
That's it.
I mean, and then even when she goes and does the crazy 88 fight, like even that's inside a restaurant. So that second one is then it's all outside. Michael Madsen lives like in a little trailer in the middle of a desert.
Thinking about it now, it has to be intentional. Because even the outside scenes in Kill Bill 1, like the one where she throws Sophie down the side of that embankment with, to a hospital, the narrow band and everything, the way it looks, it doesn't make it look big, like she's in a big open area. It just still makes it look small.
Yeah.
It's, I wonder if that's just an aesthetic that he said, this is all going to be very personal.
Yeah.
And then it's going to get really big in the second one. I don't know.
Well, I feel like, the first one was very much so, a samurai film. Yeah. I think that the second one, even though it is still the same characters and the same plot and is still a samurai film, is more a spaghetti western. I think that it is much closer to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly than it is to Yojimbo or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe there's that beginning of his moving towards the traditional Western style. Because it's like a blend, right? You've got that samurai thing. You've got the boss fight and all that stuff. You've got the training sequence when she goes to see Pai Mei. Like all those things that are a part of that genre still. But then it does have that feel. Of
the aesthetic,
Western.
yeah, right, exactly. Like cosmetically, it feels like a spaghetti western.
Like when she's up on the hill and she's scoping out. What's the guy's name? Bob. Not Bob. What's the brother's name?
Michael Madsen's character?
Michael Madsen's character is Bud.
Bud,
that's right. Yeah.
Thank you. She's like surveilling Bud's place, and it's got that it's like she's on the high plains, and she's like watching the thing develop in front of her.
So the film starts with the black and white scene at the church, right? That's where it starts, and I mean that's just such a cool scene because you finally meet Bill, and Bill is fucking David Carradine, of all Tarantino just excels. We talked about that in a previous cast about all the actors that he just pulls from whatever they're doing now back into the limelight.
What a masterstroke of casting.
It was, and David Carradine should have won a fucking Oscar for that. He is fucking incredible.
He's chilling. He's personable. He's he's a great dad. Like all these things he does in this movie, you're like, fuck, this dude can do anything.
Yes.
Yeah. And he can choke himself to death while masturbating.
Well,
yes.
Come on.
Talk about jumping the shark here. Yeah,
That
you
was
deserve
ridiculous.
that.
It is impossible, honestly, for me to watch his scenes in this movie, and somewhere there's always a voice in the back of my head who's like, you know how he died in real life.
Yeah, yeah. Like he's playing with their daughter, and he's like, "Bang, mommy, she shot you dead." And I'm like, "Oh, I just see you touching yourself right now. It's not great."
He's sitting there on the chapel like porch playing that like I don't know what kind of flute thing it is. That I have no idea what kind of instrument is beautiful sounding. And he's playing that song, and the draws are outside, and just that setup for this guy's supposed to be this big menacing like, oh fuck, this
Snake
is
charmer.
the dude. This is the guy who's in the title. And then it's like they're like old lovers, and they've got this like this thing. But then she calls him her dad, and he looks at her like, "Dad," you know, like I love that character development. Then he's like, "Oh, you should give her away." He goes, "That's asking a lot."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then they all show up, and it's just that like that showdown thing.
Well, there's the spaghetti
That's
western
exactly what
thing.
it is.
You get
Exactly.
you get
Classic
the
high
long
noon.
shot. You see the villains emerge into the scene, and you hear that like electric, that spaghetti western electric guitar, like that, and they slowly walk in. You hear the people screaming. And,
No, Bill.
Yeah.
Said you promised.
right.
Oh, it's-
But he is magnetic. Every time he is on screen, he just steals the show. He's fucking David Carradine too. I remember a long time ago being curious. I'm like, he's so good in this. Like, I know, he's the guy from Kung Fu, but I'm like, but what else has he done? And it turns out a fucking shit ton. The
character
dude made
actor,
like 80 movies. Like right, he was in a hotel because he was working on set, like at a movie when he died. You know, I none of that stuff. Most of that stuff was not stuff anybody would know. It was all like straight to video kind of shit.
yeah.
But I guess he apparently had a nickname too as the hardest working man in Hollywood because he was that prolific.
Man, that sucks.
I love that scene with his brother Bud too, and he's like, he pulls up in a fucking De Tomaso Mangusta.
Yeah,
You guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't.
It's
You're
that
welcome.
exotic looking car he's driving at, you'll see it if you watch the scene again, but so he shows up and he's just talking to Michael Madsen's his brother. And it's like, the guy's like a friggin' hick, and Bill was a sophisticated dude, and he's like, you pawned a Hattori Hanzo sword for $250? And they have this, like, moment, like, his range, like you said, Oscar-worthy.
Yeah.
Oscar-worthy. He's got so many
love
different
that part.
levels to that
I love that
character.
part you're talking about, too, because he goes, that sword was priceless.
Yes.
And Michael Madsen goes, takes a swig of the bottle, and he's like, well, that's funny, because in wherever Texas, they didn't think that. They thought it was worth $250.
Oh, and like even as an audience member, I'm like, oh, $250.
Right. But he still has
Yeah,
the
you
sword.
realize
We
he's-
learned
Yeah, that's
later,
the thing.
you know, he's-
But you don't know at that moment.
But it's I love Michael Madsen in these movies. I love him in Reservoir Dogs because the way he talks, it's almost like he's reading off of cue cards on which only 3 words are written at a time.
Yes.
Because there's that great line in Reservoir Dogs where he's like, if they hadn't have done what I told them not to do, they'd still be alive. Yeah. And he's got a line almost exactly like that when he's talking to his brother, when he's talking to Bill, and he goes, what does he say? He says, that woman deserves her revenge, and we deserve to die.
Yeah.
It's like the guy's not moving the cue cards fast enough for Michael Madsen.
You know what? Honestly, though, we talked about how Oren Ishii gets the backstory. And I said I think Bud gets a little bit, and we do get a little bit of his present story.
Right.
He's like a low-life strip club
and-
bouncer that they don't need it. He's being told to clean the fucking toilet, and he's like, he just takes it. He lives in this shitty trailer.
Right.
Like, this guy was a high-priced assassin, right? Like, what the fuck happened here? And he's
Right.
like,
Yeah,
I
there's a movie
pawned my
there.
sword, but he really didn't pawn the sword.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I wanted so badly. This was college me. Now I love this part of the movie. The fact that he does take shit from the boss. This fucking strip club in the middle of nowhere, and this guy's just belittling him to his face. You work tomorrow? No, you don't. You work Wednesday? You don't even know what fucking day you work. You work Thursday? No, you don't. You know, all that shit. And but college me was like, kill him! Kill him! Kill that motherfucker!
I gotta just, like, I think we're going out of order, but the best part about his whole sequence is that he feels like she's justified.
Yes.
And yet he still puts up a fucking big ass fight.
yeah.
Like, he fucking blows her away with the salt gun thing.
Right.
And it's like, that whole thing is deeply disturbing, but
we're not that far out of order, really. I mean, what happens after we see his back scene? Because in my mind, that's actually the next thing is the salt gun and burying her.
Is that where it starts?
Because he comes back from the strip club.
Okay.
After he's like, you don't work for like a week. And he's like, don't call me, I'll call you. And he's like, by the way, check with so-and-so on the way out. She's got a job for you. And the job is like the toilet's backed up or whatever. So he drives home and he's got that trailer in the middle of nowhere. And like he goes inside, and I think that's when the camera pans back, and she's standing up there on top of the hill looking down.
So it starts with the full-fledged wedding rehearsal scene?
The movie begins with that.
That Kill Bill does,
And then it goes to...
Actually, it starts with that goofy moment in the car where she's like narrating what's happening to bring us up to speed. Yeah. And Tarantino's got this infatuation.
He loves making those cars not seem real.
Yeah. Well, which I think is cool, but he's got this weird infatuation with rhyming. In Pulp Fiction, it was, who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby. And in this one, it's, and I am gonna kill Bill.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
But the first major scene is the church scene.
It wasn't Sophie telling Bill that she's coming for them all? And he's like, oh, my beautiful Sophie.
Oh, there was a phone call at some point, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think he's with her in the hospital or something, and he's talking to her. He's like, what did they do to you, my beautiful Sophie? And then she tells her she's coming for him. There's that part is in there somewhere. Or was that the end of the first one? That might have been the end of the first one.
Oh, yeah, because he asks...
what she told Kiddo.
And does she know... that her daughter's still alive.
Yeah,
that's the last word.
Cliffhanger.
Cut to credits. We forgot to talk about that.
We did. Damn it.
Oh, we get it now.
You know what? It lets me go back because we were talking about the expanse of the vision. Am I right in saying that the wide shot or the wide angle bars disappear at the end of Kill Bill 2 or Kill Bill 1 at the end of that scene where she's fighting the Crazy 88? After it shifts from black and white, I think
it does. It changes perspective.
Like literally. If it was shot as one movie, you would have gone from that to the bars being gone, and then the wider shots happening right away. So it might have been what appears more purposeful, as we thought.
Yeah,
interesting.
So
great point. Yeah,
thanks for bringing it back, so I could go to that because I've been thinking about that for the last 3.5 minutes.
We did plan this all out in advance, guys.
Totally,
we were working
scripts,
from
cue cards,
very detailed outlines.
The writers are back on now that the strike is solved.
This is our 6th take.
Despite me shouting, we do it live multiple times.
So there's the chapel scene. We find out exactly how it went down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Bud stuff. Right? And that's pretty much where we're at now.
Yeah.
And then he shoots her in the friggin' chest. I love that part where she stalks him. She plans it out. Yeah. And then basically she just fucking runs to the door, blasts the door open, and just blows her away. Right. And it's like she goes flying like 20 feet. It's like, fuck!
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you're a trained-ass assassin.
Yeah.
At the height of your revenge story.
True.
Or, on the climb of your revenge story, and you just run up to the fucking trailer?
Right.
Well, I think she's trying to get the element of surprise. Maybe she thought that he's just a half-head, fat-ass, drunk.
He does come across as that.
And I think, I think he sells it well, because, he goes in there, and he's rattling around, the dishes, turns the TV on, or music, or some shit. He comes to the window, when he hears something in the distance, right, and he looks out the window, and she's right below it, looking up at him.
Yeah.
But then when she goes in, he's clearly sitting there waiting. Oh, yeah. He knew she was there the whole time. So I think, part of the implication is he plays, not that he isn't that character, he is, but he hams it up in order to, put her off and then, pulls her into a trap.
Mm-hmm. And what he does to her is just a masterclass in horror.
Oh, my God.
It's
hard to watch.
Oh, but the progression of the story is perfect because the way that he takes her to the friggin' thing, that he shoots her up with the shit. She can't do anything about it because she's in such pain. Wakes up and she's at a graveyard where they're digging her grave essentially to bury her alive. He makes the deal with the other girl there to pay off that he did it, sell the sword, and just buries her. The whole thing. It's that classic Tarantino. He's drawing it out, the dirt falling on the thing. She starts to panic. Do you want this or do you want this?
Right. If you're going to keep acting like a horse's ass.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's just the whole thing. He thinks he's got to, everyone thinks shit, he's got her. But then we get that beautiful pivot then to the whatever lessons of Pai Mei.
Pai Mei, the 1-inch punch.
The brutal tutelage.
Yeah, that was, And just that, again, is a classic trope of this style of movie, where we get now the backstory of how this person learned how to get out of this pickle that they're in right now.
Yeah, so I mean that scene is fucking awful for me to watch because I mean claustrophobia is not something I suffer from badly, but I hate being restrained. Like I absolutely
same.
It's one thing that will absolutely freak me out. Like if I were ever captured and like you wanted to get information out of me, all you have to do is like put me in a room where I can't like fully expand my arms and shit, and I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Are you breaking
Good
the
to know.
notice?
Yeah, well, we're recording it, so
I shouldn't be giving my secrets away. I realize this now.
We'll edit it out, folks.
But yeah, watching her in that is and like you said, like the sound of the dirt hitting the top of the coffin, and she's not able to move, and the camera's right in her face as she's breathing and like screaming.
The light is going out as the dirt falls on her face.
Oh, it's so awful.
And then she turns on the flashlight, and it's just like, you know it. Like,
right.
She doesn't have a lot of time here.
Yeah.
So good. And then, again, it goes now to this backstory.
Right.
Yeah, to draw out her attention.
And it's Bill and her sitting around a campfire, laughing it up, having a good time.
He's playing that damn flute again.
Right. Is that what is it? It's not a didgeridoo, right? It's too small to be that.
Didgeridoo doesn't make that kind
but
of
stuff. But it's, again, it's Carradine is fucking mesmerizing, you know? He'll play a little bit, and then just apropos of nothing, he'll be like, the great Pai Mei or whatever was walking. He tells that whole story, and he's like, in an almost unfathomable act of generosity, he slightly inclines his head to whatever. It was the monk of Shaolin or something like that. It's fucking such a compelling story. Carradine is amazing the way he does that whole thing.
It's so well, and it just feels like they just sat down and just did it in one take.
Yeah.
It feels like he's really playing that thing. He might be.
Yeah.
Like, everything there
seems
feels
like he
legit.
would.
Right.
It looks like Uma Thurman is like really gaga for this guy. The way she's like, no, this dude really is fucking awesome. I would get in his, or he can get my pants right now.
Right. Right.
Unbelievable.
So they go up to, that thing at the top of the mountain. I don't know if it's quite a village or a monastery or what it is, but
you don't really get the sense just a training ground.
Well, he drops her off. He takes her there, and he comes down the stairs, and he's all got the shit beat out of him.
He's all grumpy and shit.
Well, he'll take you as a student. How'd it go? Oh, just a little sparring, man.
Right.
You know he got his ass handed.
Right, exactly.
He's all, like, pissed. He takes her bag, throws it on the ground. He's like, I'll be back in a month or whatever, or a year. No, I'll be back in a couple of years, whatever it is. And just leaves her there.
Right.
For her fucking Jedi training or whatever it is.
Right. Dude, and Pai Mei is such an absurd character. Like,
he's literally from the
caricature is the word I'm looking for.
Can you guys
here.
all hear me on the pike? Is moving my beard aside?
Yes. Well, even when he does that, you get the kung fu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's that. You know what? Even knowing like what a like caricature that character is and how absurd it is, it's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah.
That character is so amazing. Every word out of his mouth, or I should say, word in the subtitle below his mouth, is the funniest fucking.
Now wait a minute. Okay, I watched it again years ago, and then my recent rewatch, I watched it off of like a Plex server thing. There were no subtitles on the version I was watching.
It was English dubbed?
It was just him speaking in Chinese, and I had to infer what they were talking about.
Oh, damn.
So there were subtitles in it. I can't remember.
There were.
I know there are parts of Tarantino movies where he does not translate it.
Oh, no, there's clearly subtitles because he gets off so many great lines. I mean, the one part where he's got her arm behind her back and he's explaining to her at length how this arm belongs to him now.
Yeah.
And you think, in the moment, you think like, oh, that's just a badass thing to say, right? But then a few minutes later, he begins a training exercise by saying, since your arm belongs to me now, I want it to be strong.
Oh, he tells her to pick up the sword and like try to do it. And he's like laughing at her samurai training, like, oh, you're proficient with the samurai sword. Oh, garbage, Japanese garbage crap, whatever.
Yes.
And just, but
he says, if you land a single blow, then I'll bow down and call you master.
Yeah. Freaking hands her ass. He's standing on the tip of her sword. She get that look of like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Absolute trope right there.
Yeah.
I love it. Dancing on your enemy's sword and the whole like the master owning you thing.
Right.
Yeah.
The part 2 when he makes her punch repeatedly, that 1-inch punch thing, and then finally you see that she can't even eat the rice.
Right.
And he's like, are you gonna eat like a dog? And he throws her food out on the floor, and then basically she picks up the chopsticks and hands her his bowl there, and then she does it, and he's like,
Yes,
strokes the
Beard
beard.
stroke.
it's just the slightest nod of approval,
Yeah.
and that's where they end the segment too. So you're like, so that's what you get from Pai Mei as far as approval goes.
Right. And then she punches her way out of that fucking coffin.
Yep. Yeah, she
Amazing.
just starts.
And that is cool. With like they bring in Ennio Morricone was involved in. He's the guy who's done all the spaghetti westerns and everything. The Ecstasy of Gold. That's Ennio Morricone. He was involved in some Tarantino movie or movies. I don't remember if he was specifically in Kill Bill or not. But even the way she emerges from that coffin is set to that glorious Ennio Morricone style.
Yes.
Spaghetti
At least
western.
inspired by,
Yeah, it's just beautiful as she's like the dirt's falling and she's climbing up through it. And the other point that just occurred to me is, Adam, you mentioned in the first cast about the monomyth, the Joseph Campbell hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the hero always has to go to the underworld and emerge reborn in some way.
And they actually show her ascension too,
literally
from a side cut.
right from a coffin. It's a resurrection.
Yeah, and she's rising too. She runs across the street.
Yes.
And like goes into a diner and she's all
Yeah.
covered in shit. And
Right.
she's like, have a glass of water.
And she does it in that same exact style of Lucy Liu in the first movie. Like,
Yeah.
as your new director,
Yes.
you know, it's like, may I have a glass of water?
So I was researching what you were talking. He carries a yokobu.
A yokobu.
I've never
So it's
heard
it's
of
kind
that.
of flute.
Okay. It's like a big ass flute.
Big ass flute. Yeah, bass flute.
That's actually the definition that it says on
It says
the internet.
big ass flute.
Big ass flute.
I love how she also goes directly from coming out of the grave barefoot and just walks across the desert that way to finish the job on Michael Madsen.
Right.
And it's like, there's no interlude. She doesn't go back and like recoup. She doesn't like, nope. There's like one-minded single, this is it. I am going to kill this motherfucker. I am not taking no for an answer. And then, how did she kill him? I can't remember.
Oh, she doesn't.
No.
You're right.
Shoot.
She
What's that
didn't.
actress's
Driver.
name?
Ellie Driver.
No, that's not it. It's
No,
shoot. Who's the actress? It's another one that
I just said her
Tarantino
name.
like plucked from obscurity.
yeah, she was Splash.
Yeah.
What the hell's her name? I said it earlier. No,
Famous actress. We'll get it.
all I can think is Julie Dreyfus, and that's not who it is.
No. Adam's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
but-
interwebs.
But she comes to buy the sword
Yes.
that he's taken from
She
Uma
killed
Thurman.
him,
Yeah, from Beatrix. And that's a cool scene too, actually, because as he lays there
Daryl
dying,
Hannah.
and
Daryl Hannah.
is that who it is?
Daryl Hannah. Yep. Sorry.
Getting there.
As
He was right last cast, so maybe he's right again.
can't be right again.
Give me my bill.
I don't
We're
have one.
gonna
I do have
verify
one
it.
near me. I got to verify it first.
What was I saying? Oh, so as he lays there dying agonizingly from the black mamba bite, she's great in that scene. She sits down and she like opens her notes and starts reading him her research on the snake bite. And she's like, she says, some people say they experience, whatever symptoms. Are you feeling any of that?
Yeah.
You know, and-
You know, you said Black Mamba got him. Well, Black Mamba got him.
right.
That was the bride's call name. She was the Black Mamba.
There's a lot of, so there's a lot of references to that. There's this literal snake in the trailer. Even in the first fight scene with Vivica A. Fox,
I should have been Black Mamba.
she's pointing out that she should have been.
But I guess if you
I
think
mean, I
about
get,
it,
and at the point you're like, okay, I get it. It's a
Yeah.
race joke, but
I think in
not.
the second one, it's almost like Tarantino kind of giving her the revenge because the Black Mamba did get him. Right? It wasn't her kill, but technically, if you think about it in a stretched way, she kind of did get him.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love that fight scene with Daryl Hannah because that she was set up to be this real menacing figure from the first one. She's the nurse with the one eye patch thing. She comes in, she's just about to inject the shit into her IV, and Bill
Yeah.
calls. Like
Right.
she's come so close to killing her before,
Right.
and it's like this whole like. Obviously, she was her rival.
Right.
Obviously, she had been gunning for Bill's dick too.
I was
Right.
going to say that. Yeah, there's definitely some like love pissed off. there.
Absolutely.
A quick pause here to point out that it is Daryl Hannah. I confirmed that. So
Yeah,
you were right, Sean.
I just did too.
Good for
Why do
you.
you guys doubt me?
Ellie Driver's the name of the character.
Yes.
I answered the wrong question.
But the fight between the two of them is really interesting because the whole thing takes place in that tiny ass little trailer.
Yeah, speaking of
and yet it's
claustrophobia.
still a really cool fight.
Oh, the back and forth, like them going like completely at it. And again, Daryl Hannah's got the upper hand for a second.
Right.
And then we get to that like I don't know what she rallies herself basically. Oh, but tell me, how did you lose that eye?
Right.
And she goes, "Oh, your master, Pai Mei, whatever. What did you say to Pai Mei to make him pull out your eye, kind of a thing?" And she goes, "They show the story, but then she goes, and I killed him for it,
Right.
and then like this whole thing. And
She
now I'm going to
poisons
kill
him,
you.
yeah.
I killed your master.
Yeah,
and it's
another
just
trope.
sends her on that.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how she just like they're locked and it's about ready to go, and then she just does the boink, and just pulls the fucking eye, and she's like they zoom in on
Yeah,
it.
they do. Yeah.
Oh, her reaction is just haunting. Like ah,
Right.
ah, she's screaming and thrashing, and it's
Because up till now in both movies, this character has been like cool as ice, like, like stoic face, like low voice. And now she's just screaming, "You fucking bitch! Where are you?
Yeah.
Get over here! I'll fucking
With the snake writhing
Yep.
towards her
Yeah.
as
Right.
she rises on the
And
ground.
she just leaves her in there. I love it. Just lets her just get killed by her own.
Yeah,
It's so
another
good.
great scene.
Yep. Gets her sword back. Does she leave? I think she leaves Bud's sword there. She just takes
does.
her
Yeah,
sword
because you
over
see
there.
it's like in mixing with golf clubs or umbrellas or
No,
something.
but no.
like that.
She was fighting with it for a little while because Daryl Hannah had her sword.
Yeah.
So she grabbed Bud's Hansu sword and was fighting it. I think she took hers back and just left Bud's sword there.
Oh yeah, I think
I would have taken them both. Like you would have get two Hattori Hanzo swords.
Nothing looks better on screen than a character fighting double swords.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
is the coolest.
Well, she
looking
did
shit.
fight with the scabbard for a little while,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
technically is how you're supposed to parry because it absorbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you can replace the scabbard. You can't replace your sword.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, there is something though, isn't there? Like a trope against using your enemy's sword unless you absolutely have nothing else left in this
Like a
world.
last
So,
resort
like,
kind of thing, yeah.
yeah, and she still has hers. So
That's such a great
I
thing.
can
She
dig
just
it.
looks at the golf bag. Is like, to Bud, the only man I ever loved.
That's
Bill.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
yeah,
And again, it's like that. He's good with the Chekhov gun kind of thing because they mentioned the sword.
Yep.
And there it is, right? Like you knew it was going to come up at some
Right.
point. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That is the reveal because he didn't sell it.
Well, it's also not to get overly analytical on all this stuff, but it kind of tells you like this character is suffering from like guilt or trauma or something because he's trying to isolate himself from his brother. He's lying about this sword. He's drowning himself in booze, right? And it's like,
Right.
But in the end, it's like he also says those things like she deserves her revenge and we deserve to die, and he still has the sword and it's got that inscription on it. So you get the sense that this character puts up the tough exterior as a coping mechanism. Almost.
He's very paradoxical because he has that almost like self-destructive penitence he's putting himself under, like penance, whatever.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
Self-flagellating.
but then, exactly. But then he wants all that money.
Right.
So he's fucked up, and maybe intentionally, but he doesn't want to be fucked up forever.
Right.
So he's complex, like most Tarantino characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could have a story again. Could have a movie all of his own.
There you go.
Which, quick side jump for a second. For a while, I don't know if it's still being discussed, but there was talk of Kill Bill 3
It's still out there once in a while.
with Vivica A. Fox's daughter as completing or coming back for her revenge against Uma Thurman.
Well, the fan speculation is that Uma Thurman's daughter, Maya Hawke, is also about the same age that her daughter would be in real life, and she could play her, and there'd be this whole thing. And I think that's fan speculation, and Tarantino fans the flames once in a while.
Sure, right on.
He said he thinks of, I'm only do one more movie. But I think of the Kill Bill thing as all one movie. So they said, he could do that
keep doing
and
that.
do his... So,
And the latest scuttlebutt is that they want Zendaya to play Vivica A. Fox's daughter.
yeah, it'd be awesome. They could pull it off. It'd be fucking super sweet, but...
And it would still be within the genre because, another revenge comes back and you have to continue the revenge cycle because you need your revenge.
I think it would be cool, and I think it's something fans would enjoy. Tarantino does not strike me as the type of dude to mind his own,
it's fan service. Because honestly, who would the bad guy be? Are they going to take revenge on each other? It can't be Kill Bill because Bill's dead.
I'm sure he could do it, and it would be great.
Wait. Bill dies? I'm being sarcastic.
Or doesn't, or does he? Maybe just in the sense that we're all slowly dying. He is immortal.
Thank you for being with us, dear listener, because you have been dying for the last 20 minutes. Appreciate that.
You're all
dying of
closer to your
entertainment,
death
I hope.
than you were when you started this podcast.
Yep.
Okay, so Viper, let's see, the Bud's dead. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Already Ishii, Vivica A. Fox, we don't know her real character's name. Bud, the one-eyed girl, Ellie Driver, whatever you call her, And now it's
Bill.
Next in the list is Bill.
Bill.
Right? It's
Is
the
it?
Deadly Viper Assassination Squad is
Right.
pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And this is when she's driving like that, like, doo, 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 doo.
Yeah.
She's like
Yeah.
a Kirby the Love Bug, whatever, driving around to
Right.
try and find him. Like, the most interesting man in the world is Bud's, like, stepfather.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
she's in, like, what is it, Buenos Aires or something
I think
like
it's Mexico.
that?
I think he's, like, hiding out in Mexico.
So
yeah.
that actor who
Hence the
plays
tequila.
that is it Mexico?
I thought it was
Spanish.
Mexico.
I don't know. The
I've just been on
pimp
Google
anyway.
all night.
The
Yeah.
actor that plays the pimp is also he's actually in Kill Bill 1 as well as the sheriff that investigates the church
Oh,
scene.
oh,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
him. You're right.
It's the same actor.
Wow, great range.
But I think he is fucking hilarious
Oh,
as
yeah.
the pimp. Like,
Yeah.
the way he talks is just so, like, I wouldn't have killed you. I would have just cut your face a little bit.
And then
She does-
the horror comes in, who
Right.
has clearly cut her
Yes.
face.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, like her
Yeah.
lip is, like,
Yeah.
slashed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, dos veces, or whatever, and she comes over with him, and she's like, "Grr."
And Uma Thurman's doing that, like, whole act again about being the ditzy whatever
Right.
until finally she says, I'm looking for Bill. Where's Bill?
Right.
And she
Yeah.
keeps going, where's Bill?
Right.
And then finally he tells her, and then she arrives.
Right.
It like pretty much cuts to it. Like, no, there's no more.
Yeah,
she's
it's
here.
fast.
Yeah, exactly. Like fast
Yeah.
travel right to the end, and then he's got this gorgeous like compound where someone parks her car for her, and, like lets her in. And,
Yeah.
yeah, and then she meets her daughter.
Yeah.
Yes. So that brings us then to what, I mean, to me, in a fabulous film, couple of films, this scene is my favorite. I can watch this on YouTube at night, just the scene. I don't even need to watch the movie. In all of, Tarantino's fabulous filmography, there's so many great scenes, and this has got to be a top 5 for me. David Carradine in this scene, in that setting, and the music and everything is fucking the best. Such a great scene.
Love it. And he's like this doting, loving father, and just how he just treats it like, oh, mom's home.
Right.
Like it's like nothing, like no big deal. Like, oh, and then she goes, what happened to mommy? Like, well, I hurt mommy really bad.
Right.
And he's like, he's honest.
Right.
Yeah.
But he does it in such a cute way. He's making her a sandwich, where the hell it was.
Yeah,
Right,
he's making
right.
like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or
Cutting
some
the
shit.
crust off the shit
Yeah.
as he's
Or-
doing
yep.
delivering all this dialogue, and she's just stunned the whole time that all
Yeah.
this is happening.
Oh, and it just, and again, like not Tarantino, Carradine is so mesmerizing just in how he talks. He's such a storyteller.
Yeah.
Like he's like, the whole thing about the fish, and he's like, now is that not the perfect image of life and death? A fish flapping on the floor and a fish not flapping on the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah.
And again, while, like you said, while he's cutting the sandwich up and all that shit.
Yeah, the edge of menace is still there,
Yes.
even
Yeah.
though he's like so disarming to the point where
Charming, yeah.
Yeah, Beatrix Kiddo is completely charmed again.
Right.
Yeah.
She like crawls into bed with her daughter. They watch a movie. It's like the
Yeah,
fuck is
yeah,
going on
honestly,
here?
right? Like, well, she wants that normalcy. She wants
Yeah.
what she had, and she knows that she has to go end whatever is happening right now.
Right.
So, I always saw that as like, okay, this is the one moment of normalcy she can have in her life, period.
But did you guys feel like for a split second, like, well, maybe they'll get married and they'll raise her together and it'll be cute? Like that's what he's leading me towards.
Yeah, until he shoots her with the truth serum shit
exactly.
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just my own invention. Like she gets out of the thing, ping, like right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
She's just
Well,
like,
yeah, she comes
Don't
down.
move, kiddo, or I'll put another in your eye. Is that what
yeah,
it says?
something like that. Yeah.
And he's down there, like, she comes down and he's down there, like, looking at her sword. And they have this great conversation. He talks about comic books and Superman and the mythology
Yes.
of
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like, he's mesmerizing. He's charming. And at the same time, he's extremely deadly, as evidenced by that point. Like, she tries to move for this sword, and like he fires a shotgun, and then he puts the truth serum in her and everything. But he's also like quirky because he does that thing where he's like, if you keep messing around, I'll have to put one of these right in. And then he goes, ha ha ha, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, yeah. That whole just completely pivots to something else. I'm
Right.
just fucking with you. He's
Yeah.
drunk.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
clearly
He
drunk.
you're right.
literally just keeps pouring
Yes.
himself
Yeah.
shot after shot after shot of tequila, knowing he's about to fight to the death with someone.
Right.
Which also, to me, I ask myself, like, okay, from a writing or directing standpoint, why would they do that? And I think it's because they're trying to say, like, this dude is, you mentioned penance before. I don't know if it's penance, but it's like, he probably understands that she's right and he expects to die.
Well, his
Yeah.
admission too is like, I overreacted. And
Yeah.
it's like,
That's
Jesus
great.
Christ. what an overreact, slaughtered an entire church full of people.
Right.
And this woman carrying your child.
Uma Thurman's reaction to that is fantastic. She goes, "You overreact."
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love how that final payoff. It's like it's not this epic battle. It's exactly what it needed to be.
Yes.
It's the 5-finger fucking death punch.
Yes.
Right? It's
Yeah. Which you weren't sure she was taught because you don't know her
Right.
how her training ended.
Right.
because she said, didn't he say before there was only one technique he wouldn't teach me?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's in the story. That's what he does to the Shaolin monk that insults
Yes.
him. And then you almost forget about that concept at all until you see her do it to his chest, and you're like, "Oh fuck, that was that
Right.
thing."
What was it
Yeah.
called? It wasn't 5-finger death punch, but it's like
Oh,
essentially
Or
the-
5-point death punch or something like that.
You
yeah.
take exactly 3 steps and then your heart
Yeah.
explodes
Yes.
or whatever, and he takes the deliberate like, how do I look? Like that whole
Yes,
oh, it's
that's great.
So
yeah.
good.
He
He knows
takes
he's-
another drink. He straightens his shirt. You know.
He's got all this time, and then the 3
Yep.
steps, and
he
the
starts walking toward the beach, and that music is playing, and Uma Thurman's crying, and
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
understand the emotional weight of this. Like, she has to kill him because of what he did.
Yeah.
It's unforgivable, but at the same time, it was a man that she loved. It was a
Right.
father
Yeah.
figure, a tutor, and a lover to her, you know, and
Right.
and he's raised her daughter. So there's all this emotional gravity, and he falls over, and then there's also that moment where she. Sort of realizes, I guess I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but it's in a few minutes
that's fine.
following that where they're in like the little hotel or whatever, and she's like,
Crying.
she's sobbing,
In
and
the
then it
bathroom.
slowly turns to like laughing,
Right.
like a laugh sob thing because
She
it's just-
survived. She
yeah.
did it. She bested them all.
Right.
Now she's totally out of the game.
Right.
All of
Yeah.
that,
Everybody's gone. She's free and clear.
and her daughter's alive.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
with her in the other room. It's the 5-point palm exploding heart technique.
That's
right.
it.
Hyphens between every single one of those.
It looks so stupid too. It's like boom.
Yeah. Well, but that's how it is in every kung fu
Yes.
film where they have one technique that will kill you.
You have to suspend your disbelief for all those films. I mean,
Yeah.
you watch a movie like, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and you're like, that's not real. Like, that's impossible.
Right.
Or any of the old, like, Bruce Lee movies, which don't bring in the magical realism element. It's supposed to be literally like he's fighting them, like
Yeah.
a real human. And it's like, well, what if 3 of those guys went in instead of 1 at a time? You know?
Yeah.
So you have to suspend your disbelief. That goes without saying. But, the point that I was about to make was the actual fight that they have. I love that they didn't draw that out.
Yeah.
They didn't make that like a fight that goes on like the Lucy Liu one. We've already had
Yeah.
that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's decided quickly. And I also think it's cool that he never even gets up from the table.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
he fucking fights her swinging his sword like over his head
Yeah.
and all that shit. It is a fucking unexpected and very cool final fight.
I love his line too. He's like, "Pai Mei taught you the
Yes.
fucking
Yes.
exploding palm heart thing," and she's like, "Mm-hmm."
Yep.
Well, because I wasn't a dick to him.
Yeah, exactly. His
Probably
his
right.
total like disdain for. He taught you that. So
Yeah,
good.
it begs the question, like, was Bill really actually fighting? Right? Because
Well, yeah.
a trained assassin is not going to handle a sword like that. Just
Or drink
period. Or-
half a bottle of tequila
Yeah.
leading up to the fight.
yeah,
I
as you
think it-
pointed out.
Like
yeah,
Mike
he's
said, I think he was just expecting that she needed her revenge, and then he went with dignity into it. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
he died. That was it. This is his time to die.
Nothing became his life like the leaving of it.
Yes, he
Oh,
was a
well
man
said.
who
Somebody
died
should
as if
write
he was
that down. I
studied.
feel like that's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should start something, maybe a book with that.
Oh, horror.
We're just quoting everybody all over the place today. I love it. You know who we shouldn't quote, though? It's fucking Elon Musk.
No.
Fuck that guy.
No, fuck that guy. We've got to beef with him. He's not a friend of the cast. He's no longer a friend of the
He's
cast.
persona non grata.
In fact, he's an enemy of the cast.
I'll go
that
I was
far.
going to hold my breath on that one,
Yeah.
but yeah, because I don't want the Notor Nation to go
Yeah.
hunting for him.
right.
Because
And
it's enough that you can already find where his plane is at all times
Well,
online.
Yeah,
So.
dear listeners, Nerds of the Old Republic was absolutely exploding as a social media presence. I dare I say that we were, in the very top echelon of the quote unquote influencer
Top
world,
1%.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not hyperbolizing, am I? I'm not exaggerating.
Not at all.
no, we were flirting with some pretty awesome stuff there. So.
Yeah, we
No.
had huge numbers.
I mean, but all kidding aside, it's it turned from a very useful tool for the cast into a very frustrating experience very quickly.
Yeah, and we're
X
not
marks the spot.
Duh, where we died.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And a lot of influencers have had this experience on X. So it's like, that's why you haven't seen us, listeners, or heard any of Mike's witty quips or memes, because it's just, unfortunately, not going to get seen. For some reason, we got, like, de-escalated on the platform.
It became not worth the effort at a certain point.
Yeah, and we did mention prior in cast planning that we were going to say, fuck you, Elon Musk. So fuck you, Elon Musk.
So this has become now a plea for word of mouth.
Yeah.
The old style, what do you call that? Like door knocking campaign.
Bring a friend.
Grassroots.
That's right.
We need you to get out there and find 2 friends to listen to the cast, and then they find 2 friends to listen to the cast, and before you know it, we're back where we were before.
We have some pamphlets that you can pass out, to people at gas stations or restaurants.
Yeah. And then if you all send us $1, peace and love and harmony will be visited upon you.
Yeah, I don't want to call it seed money, but like, you're going to reap what you sow. Dear brothers of the No-Tor Church.
Wait, are we
Dear
tax
sisters.
exempt? We're tax exempt now.
We've been paying taxes the whole time. So, whoops. No, but seriously, like, we've been talking before this, before we just get to our final recommendations about Kill Bill, because I think we're there. On 1 and 2. It's really been kind of tough to find new people out there. We've got some word of mouth. You might see some No-Tour stickers if you go to a disc golf course in our local area.
Or Australia.
A couple of Tesla superchargers have some stickers tagged on them. But, at the same time, really, it'd be great if you could just share with a friend. You don't need to do anything fancy. Just say, hey, I know you like this sort of thing. These guys talk about it. You'd laugh.
Well, and we want the new people, but a huge thank you at the same time to we have a steady listenership, it seems, and
thank you all.
We do appreciate those people.
Yep. You guys are why we do this.
That's right.
Indeed. Yeah. I also like the alcohol, but you guys are why we do it for sure. So thank you for being here. Because
sort of a 1A, 1B.
That's right. It's not 1A. It's 1B. Or 1B, it's concurrently. Yeah. 1 part 1, 1 part 2.
Little altruism, little alcohol.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah, and as the trope says, this has been brought to you by viewers like you.
Yes.
So thank you for being there. We see y'all. But we would just love to also, have more people join the conversation. Hit us up. You can email us. It's nerdsofoldrepublic@gmail.
Yeah. You can find ways to message us. You can leave comments on YouTube, things like that. We're still out there.
Yeah.
Just X sucks.
Yeah, we actually do see all the comments. And in fact, it was, previous 3 casts ago, we were talking about one listener who had messaged us. And, it was nice to hear from somebody. Yep. So I don't want to be talking into the void at this, right? No, I'm just kidding. Like, I am talking to Mike and Sean here. But, by the way, welcome to Nerds of the Old Republic. I'm Adam.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Mike.
There we go. We said we were going to do it out of order, so I brought it back.
There'll be a Wikipedia entry soon for if you took this whole podcast and rearranged it in chronological order.
That's our new social media.
I love
it. There it is.
Wikipedia.
Yep.
Well, Adam, would you recommend Kill Bill?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. If you had 5 hours to spend, I would watch it consecutively, though, seriously. I think that's probably the best way to enjoy it.
This is going to shock everyone, but fuck yeah. I think it's a great movie.
I am shocked by your language, but...
Yes, I know. I
got to put a disclaimer in, thanks.
Yeah, now
we are not safe for word.
Yeah, I'm fucking sorry. Oh, shit.
God damn it.
Cunt.
That is one we maybe have not used that before on the cast.
Remember.
I don't know.
It needed to be said.
Yeah, now we're just getting all the words out there.
I'm going to say don't watch it. It's too late.
Sure.
You missed the
too late.
You missed the fucking boat. The time has passed. Where were you in the early 2000s? So fuck you.
Yeah. You don't deserve Kill Bill.
Yeah.
This film is too good for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Someone's got to be that guy.
Well, yeah, for sure. You know what you're not too late for, listener, is going out and watching the next film we're going to talk about, which is Inglorious Basterds, which caused me some problems searching it online because I didn't realize the spelling is different. Yeah. There's an E there, y'all. Give it a look. We're going to be talking about that and killing some Nazis.
Yeah.
Right?
Killing Nazis.
That's right. So thank you for being here. Find a friend. play it in the background while they're coming in to hang out with you, or you go meet them somewhere, and they'll be like, "Hey, what's that?"
Just have it on your car when you're taking someone out for a night on the town. You're like, "What is this?"
Yeah. It will show how distinguished you are, sophisticated and worldly.
Play it for your classes of fourth graders and
while your kids are in the car, absolutely, whatever you need to do,
whatever.
right? Start them young. So, with that being said, we'll see you in a couple weeks with Inglorious Basterds. Until then, cheers.
Cheers.